Hey everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. And I was at the Dollar Tree on a Masters of the Universe and super glue run. And I bought some polymer clay and some other crap. A new knife, a Power Ranger, and some makeup brushes. Shit like that. And I got this. Outdoor Fun Sand Molds for $1.25. And I'm sure it's worth every penny. So let's see what cometh in here for $1.25. All right, there you go. You can use that for something, an obelisk or something. Look at that. Yeah, look at that. Nice. Same thing with this. Looks like you can get a mini on there. And this like little wall here, no mini can go on that. But anyways, for $1.25, you got some decent parts to use here. I only wish a mini could stand on this one. He's a little bit too big. And he's a little bit wonky on there. This could be cool. You could use that for stuff. Top of a building even. So I'm going to set this stuff aside. Maybe in this bag that it conveniently came with for now. Till I figure out where I'm going to put it away at for another day. And throw that across the floor there. And I'm going to look at my tower here. There's no door or windows or anything on it. Alright, so to rough this up, a wire brush or a sanding block or whatever you have would work. A piece of sandpaper. I have a sanding block here. I'm going to try to hit the majority of my work with the sanding block. And I'll come back with the wire brush. You really don't need to do a bunch of sanding, just enough to set a whole paint, you know. It's pretty sturdy plastic. I'm not sure if it's brittle and would shatter easy or not. I'm going to get a wire brush to hit my last little couple spots. In the crevasse, and to do the top, because I think that'll make it easier. Okay, it looks roughed up. I think it should do what I want it to. To spray paint this bad boy and to have a handle to work on, my normal paint lids probably will not suffice. Not so much. So what I'll do is I'll get a little bit of glue there, and a little bit of glue there, and a little there, and a little there. And I'm going to stick this down over this larger lid. I think this came from like glass cleaner or something. It's like a paint lid, but it's just something a little bit bigger. I'm going to let that cool and hold that in place so I can work on it. Okay. Now let me get a sleeve, and we'll spray paint it real quick. You know what? Let's not spray paint it real quick. Change of plan. Let's get some kind of structures on here. So I'm going to use some of my go-to pieces that I use for a lot of things. This is a little cardboard disc that could easily have been a base. Here's a couple more circles. And this is just game board pieces, really. That's all this stuff is. Let's pop some of these off and see if I can use any of this. Okay, that should be good for now. Alright, so these circles could make good circle windows, I'm guessing. So what I'm going to do to mount those is I'm going to come here on the back. I'm not going all the way out to the edge, but I'm making it kind of thick. So that when I push it down, I can kind of position these and move these around. Have a good bond, okay? And I'm going to use these to simulate round windows. And I'm not putting a lot of effort into this, okay? I'm not going for perfection. I'm just vaguely getting them in place. Oh, shit. Kind of evenly around. And of course I got too much glue under there in a couple spots. I'm just going to try to cut that off with my fingernail. Using that as a master pruning tool for hot glue. Then I'm going to pull that out of my thumb where it's stuck. Okay. Any kind of circles would work. I bet you bingo counters would probably be really good for this. I don't know if I have any. I do actually. I'm not sure where they are. And those are roughly the same height around. Close enough. Okay. Now, I don't like that little divot in the top. And I just wanted to make it look a little more interesting when I set a miniature there. And I have this piece already. And even though you don't need it, and you probably shouldn't waste a piece doing this, I'm going to put one up there. Just like that. I'm going to push it around. Find the center. And make a little piece there. Now, to make this a little more interesting on the sides, there's tons of things you could do. Cardstock is your #1 friend, I would guess. But I need to figure out how my door is going to be situated. That's really big for a door. Cutting it out a piece might even be better than just putting something on here. Let me think about that. So, come on, there you. Give me your glue. I can't get it. All right, so let's see how hard it is to cut this. It might break it. It might very well just break it. All right. I'm going to try to come straight up and down. This is something you don't necessarily want to eyeball. That shattered. It cracked. I'm going to come up here with side cutters and try to cut it out. Okay, now we have something we can kind of see what we're doing a little better. We'll cut this up. All right, we're going to try to use that as the basis for our door at this point. So to get that in there, I'm going to get some glue here, like that. I'm going to sit this here so that sits flush. Okay, just like that. Now my window is a little bit in my way from a really flush fit, so this side's not going to get a window, it's going to get a door. Man, that really glued it on there strong, didn't it? Since I can't seem to get a seam to pull it off, we're just going to snip it off. We're just going to cut it off like this. All right, let's try this again. Let's get some glue here. Like that. Get it kind of seated in there, straight up and down. And push it down and center it. Just like that. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some popsicle sticks and trim around that door and try to make it look intentional, like we were set out to make it look this way in the first place. So let me grab a handful of those. And boop. We want this to kind of fit across the top there nicely. Something like that. That might not be wide enough. Let's try it a little bit wider, something like that. Okay. Okay. There we go. Then we're going to do this just like that. So we're going to get some glue here and some glue on the end of that. And we're going to fit that under there and make it kind of a frame. We're going to let that cool. And we're going to snip off the excess, flush to the bottom. Okay. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, no problem. Easy peasy. Water bear squeezy. For those of you that are not on the Discord, a longtime viewer and supporter of the channel has made silly jokes and started a challenge on the channel, on the Discord. And now we are, by the end of the month, going to have a tardigrade off, which is what happens when you have a competitive attempt at making tardigrades. He has done this to us. We have no choice. He has put us in a situation where we're stuck. I would like to make this a little more felt. Like this, a little more. So I'm going to come over this with another piece on the top and bottom. And this is personal preference. You really don't need this. Okay. And let's snip that off flush. And that makes it have a little bit more substance. It's pretty sturdy. There's some weird gap there. Not sure what the best way to fill that would be. I think leaving it would probably be more acceptable than trying to fill it with something and making it look dumb. Alright, so let's make a little bit more stuff here. Let's get like a piece of this rounded thing and maybe put it above the door. So I'm just going to cut this flush. Get myself in the fat with it. All right. Get our spider webs off. And you could go and add a lot more detail to this. Maybe a skull. Let me see if I have any skulls. I know I got skulls. Let's look at my junk box. We gotta have some skulls or something in here. That'd be good. Something bigger would be better. big plastic skull from like one of those junky, one of these skeletons. There's one. Okay. We can use some pieces of this super cool fence. All right. We definitely can use that shield I threw. Look at that. That'll do what we want for sure. Where's my wire brush? I did not put it away, but I cannot find it. Oh, wire brush, where art thou? Be at right now. Lost it. Lost my wire brush. I do have more wire brushes, so I'm not too worried about it. And let's see if we can take the front part of the skull off of the back part of the skull without getting hurt. Cool. Buttons. Ooh, my nose. All right. So I'm going to get that skull in all its glory right there. So I'm going to get a little bit in there and a little bit up there. And just kind of drag it around the inside some. The top and bottom are going to be my main connection points, though, that are really going to hold this in place. Okay. Let me get out another wire brush out since I lost that one. I'm looking for wire brushes. La 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 la. I don't know why that would be on the door. Could go on the back side there. But I feel like it has to go on the door, which would make no sense whatsoever. Let's see if we can make that work. Let me get more glue. Okay, we'll let that just kind of sit and let the glue kind of fall down. Get that in place. Now I had somewhere some really thin shit plastic skeletons that would be cool for this. Let me look real quick. Give me a second. I'll show you what I'm talking about. When I'm on Halloween mode, I stock up on dumb shit I'll never use. Oh, okay, I know where they are. It's gonna be a problem. All right, so they're really bad. But for something like this, I think you can make it work for certain parts. So I'm going to cut that there, and I'm going to remove this up here, following that bone as close as I can, just like that. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, following that bone as close as I can. Okay. And I don't really see any need for the rest of this right now. So I think that you could get those on there like that, and it would add a cool detail. Right now it might look a tad bit dumb and cartoony. But I think that with a little bit of effort, we can clean it up and make it look cool. You could put some spikes on here. That looks sick if you had some spikes. These things here, can I do anything with these of note, of value? Let's try it. First, let's cut off this bottom portion here, because it's got a blatant heart in it. These came out of, where did I get these? There was a unicorn pack from Five Below that had unicorns and fairies, and I wanted the wings out of it. And it had a bunch of these stupid little fences. So, I want this warm. So it gets a little bit of a natural bend. Easily. I might have overheated it a little bit for my safety. Then I'm going to get glue here, here, here. I'm going to force that on right above the brick layer, or the, this like little weird crenellated looking thing. I'm just going to hold that down and let that cool. All right. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So let me just prep this one. So I'm just going to snip off these kind of sticky outy pieces. I'm going to cut to that heart on both sides so it's not a heart. Heat it up a little bit. Give it a little bit of a natural curve so that it doesn't pop off. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, so I'm just getting a dab of glue in the middle. And a little right there. And a little right there. I'm just going to get right above the whatchamadooter, and I'm going to hold it in place and let it cool. Okay. You're probably thinking, man, that looks dumb. And I agree, but I think we can fix it from here. Don't you worry your ugly little heads. There are some things we don't want to come off, so let's get a little bit of glue in here. Okay. Just make sure we have good bonding. Nothing comes loose like that just did. Since that did come loose, let's get a pair of needle nose pliers and some fire. Okay. Okay, there we go. And we'll just mush that down. That way it can't come back off. Okay. This side's coming off too. That down on there and try to get a stick. Okay. Some non-compliance issues here. We will make it work. Okay. There we go. And we'll just hold that in place. It's really hot underneath, like unbearably hot. It's still popping off. Okay. Nope, still popping off. That one's staying, though. I don't know what I've done wrong. I just don't know. When all else fails, use fire. Thank you, Castlevania 2. Your wisdom is unmatched. Unparalleled, even. And probably unsafe. All right, well, that's now part of the construction. It doesn't seem to come off of there. But it doesn't look good either. We have to get it down, sticking down. That's how it has to be for this to work. All right, while we're waiting for that, let's get a little bit of glue along here just to make sure that doesn't come up. A little bit of glue around the head, make sure that doesn't come up. And we'll get a little bit around the shield. I assume it's not going to come up, but you never know. I'll put a little bit at the tops here. Let it kind of run down in. All right. Back on to the beautiful base holder thing I made. Gorgeous. Absolutely breathtaking. Absolutely. All right. Now let's try again. Yeah. Painting sleep where you be. Yeah. Oh, now we need this to dry, and I probably hit it way too hard with that paint. Not ideal. Not a problem. Now I'm going to get my favorite color in the entire world. And for those of you that aren't familiar with it, it's called pavement, and it's epic. And I'm going to get some pavement on my cardboard here. Kind of a lumpy lump like that. And I'm going to use a really big brush. I'm going to see that I missed a lot of green, and that's okay. We just want to really paint this and cover up green that I missed for sure. Okay. Pavement will give this new life. Thank you, Pavement, for your contributions to today's craft. Thank you, Sweeney, who sent me pavement. Even though I said I didn't need anything, he decided I needed pavement. And I'm glad he sent it to me, because I go through quite a bit of it. And even though I didn't think I needed it, turns out I did. All right. Let's set this off to the side. Set that over there. Let's hear hot air guns again. Let's get that cardboard back out. with that giant brush. Okay. And I'm going to add some lighter color. This is a medium to a light elephant gray. I'm going to get a little bit of that. And a piece of other cardboard from another project. That seems dryish. I'm going to mix that up consistently through my brush. I'm going to get a lot of it out of there. And I'm just going to use all the old cardboard I have laying around to get a lot of that out. Okay. That should be pretty good. Come around and catch some of this detail first up and down. Trying to capture kind of a specific look with it. Then I'm going to go back and forth on some of this stuff that just didn't pick up the way I wanted. But I'm not trying to put a lot into the back and forth like I did into the up and down. Something like that. Then we're going to get one more color lighter. I'm going to use this hideous country gray for this coat. I get about that much on here. I'm going to spread it around like that. I'm going to hit just a little bit more. I'm not putting a whole lot into that. Okay. Now, I'm done with that brush. So I threw that in my paint water, and I'm done with my cardboard for now. I had that little piece of weird fence still sticking out in the back, and I don't think it's ruining the craft because super glue held everything else in place. So what we want to do is we want to hit this with the air gun real quick. And we can probably pull this off here. Now, once I find it, I'm looking for my English ivy, which I lose all the time and I can never find. And I found one that I've been missing for quite a long time. It's fairly wet, and this is what I want, is something fairly wet. I'm going to grab a piece of cardboard. Or I'm going to fall over a pile of cardboard. Alright, so with this, I'm going to get a smallish brush. Something that can hold some paint. Where is my thing of brushes at? So there we go. That's not the one. Can't find the one I'm looking for. I got like long bristles. Alright, here we go. Alright, so this brush is pretty long and can hold quite a bit of paint. So I'm going to get some of this, and I'm going to get a little bit of paint water. I'm going to make a kind of a thin concoction, and then there's some areas where green just didn't get covered. You know, they'll cut right there around this fencing. Okay. And I'm just going to go around looking for any little bit of green that I can cover up. And if I don't get it all and a little bit of it shows through on this, well, I don't think it'll hurt. There's a little bit of green showing under there. And then, just to make things a little cooler, I get some here. And up here. Okay. And then, I'm not even going to clean my brush. I'm going to get some of this melted chocolate. I'm going to squirt a little bit out on my cardboard. Like that. It's pretty wet, but I'm going to get a little bit more wet. Didn't clean out my brush, just grabbed water with it. And then I'm going to do these windows. I'm not trying to do the sides. I'm just trying to do the top flat surface with kind of a wet brown. I use melted chocolate. I'm kind of wishing I'd used that like reddish chocolate bar, but I didn't. I'm going to hit this little thing with it too. Just doing the outer part. I'm not trying to do the sides. Now, the wisest move at this point would be to dry this off. Get a piece of cardboard, and you're going to want a smaller brush for dry brushing this time. And for my dry brush this time, I'm going to get some of that horrible country gray, just a tiny drop of that, and a tiny bit of this ivy. I'm going to get those mixed together and make an absolutely repulsive color. Okay. I'm going to take most of that off the brush. Most of it. Where is my... There it is. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. A little bit of a greenish to it. And then let's come in here and do something with these eyes. So maybe there's a door that makes this open. Maybe this is like a medieval elevator built in the middle of the desert in, Nevada for no reason. So let's fill those eyes in with a little bit of color to make it interesting. And to do that, I'm going to get some white paint. I'm just going to make a kind of shape in here. Just like that. All right. Then up here, I'm going to get a little bit of a paint. Because if you don't know how to deal with this puzzle, those top eyes can aim at you and shoot you. Okay. Let me put some of this paint away because I got a bunch of it out. Okay. We're just about done here. Let's hit this with the air gun quickly. If you like what I'm doing here on the channel, please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, leave comments, and all the happy crappy that helps the channel grow. You can check out the website. I'd really appreciate it. If you can't, again, I understand. We've all been there. But there is a discount code for 25% off your minis there. That might help you with your purchases. Check out our Discord. Maybe join in on our Tardigrade Off, the new epic event where we all try to make a tardigrade by the end of the month. I just want to stay inside this circle. Just like that. And then up here, I'm going thicker. Like that. Too much there. Wipe it off with my finger and say it's good enough. Okay. I get a little bit more here. Kind of fill in that whole eye. Cool. Yep, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. And I'm going to hit this with some clear coat when it dries. We'll see you next time.